and welcome back to another edition of Metcalf's Movie Journal. This is the show where I do quick reviews for the movies that I watch, give them a score out of 10, and then add them to my list. So let's see what movie we're reviewing today. On April 21st, I watched Mallrats, which came out in 1995. And right off the bat, this movie opens with a joke, narrated perfectly by a young Jason Lee, with every ounce of that magical charm he seemed to have, from like 95 to 99. Kevin Smith obviously knew how to get the most out of him, with this and Dogma being his two best roles. And I knew going into this one that Dogma would be the movie I most wanted to compare Mallrats against, since that's always been my favorite Kevin Smith movie, even going back to before I started rating everything. All his other movies I've seen, from Dogma, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and both Clerks movies, were all movies I'd seen multiple times in my younger years, so it's actually quite surprising that I somehow never saw this one. I would argue that Jason Lee actually has the starring role as the protagonist's best friend, Brody, with the protagonist T.S. Quint played by Jeremy London. So it's an interesting character dynamic having the main character acting as a sideshow to the protagonist. But what really makes the story work so well here is the fact that both guys are in the end dealing with the same issue, being dumped by their girlfriends. They're coping with this hardship by spending the day hanging out at the mall, which lends itself perfectly to what Kevin Smith is most known for, the idle conversation. Most of Kevin Smith's movies have a lot of general chill time, and it's precisely in those moments of nothingness when he writes his best dialogue. I wouldn't necessarily call him the best storyteller, but I'd put some of his seemingly pointless conversations up there with some of the best Tarantino and Coen Brothers stuff. And there were moments early on in Mallrats where the jokes and sharpness coming from Brody had me hopeful that this could be my new favorite Kevin Smith movie. Part of me would even want to give it some bonus points for coming out 4 years before Dogma, but there was a super strange, but also crucial to the story subplot, all about a 15-year-old girl having sex with adult men and recording it all with her parents' knowledge, that really throws the whole thing off for me. It's even weirder since nobody in the movie seems to care about it at all, until they suddenly do, and send the bad guy, Ben Affleck, to jail about it, but still say nothing about the countless other men she slept with, or the parents who knew all about it and did nothing. It's so bizarre, I honestly don't understand how the people who told me to check this one out over the years never thought to mention that Ben Affleck is a pedophile subplot that's clearly the most interesting thing to mention about this film. It was more than a little jarring, and weirdly put the brakes on a great compilation scene of Brody and T.S. going around the mall and meeting all the crazy different people. There's something old school I really like about how directors find a group of actors they like and stick with them, and maybe no one has been more consistent about that as Kevin Smith. So I'm super glad I finally watched this one, just to finally have another major piece to complete the puzzle of his movies. I sadly can't quite call it my favorite Kevin Smith film, but it comfortably comes in as my second favorite, and it's definitely worth a look if you haven't seen it. I ended up giving it a 6 out of 10, and it landed at number 487 on my list, putting it right here, in between Mars Attacks and Ants. And as always, thanks for watching another edition of Metcalf's Movie Journal. Be sure to click like and subscribe for new videos every week. And if you have a movie that you really want me to watch, be sure to drop me a comment.